we'd hit wheels a few times. We should have known that it was starting to escalate, and eventually it did.
Right.
If you're going to ask me, did we get an absolute bollocking after this? Yes.
What's up, bankers?
Hello, bankers.
How's everybody doing?
How are you doing? We are feeling absolutely clinically insane right now because we are here in Silverstone with Visa Cash App RB on behalf of Cash App. We're here with Daniel motherfucking Ricciardo on the pod today. How are you doing?
Is he real?
Yeah, I know. It's like
I don't want to touch him, but I won't. I won't.
he did take his shirt off a few minutes ago, and I was like, "Don't look! Don't look! Don't look! Don't look! Don't look! Do not look! That's inappropriate and rude."
Yeah.
I made sure that I stood somewhere you could still get a glimpse.
Okay. Yeah, I see. You know how to
He
like.
wanted to give us a full treatment. It's a once in a lifetime thing.
He understands how to woo a bro. Yeah, he knows how to the fine line of how to woo a bro. But listen, we're here today. We know it was your birthday. Happy birthday!
Thank you. Yeah, I was gonna say it in another language.
Okay.
I felt like your intro sounded more. I don't know if it sounded more German.
Well, it's English, like wankers, but it's.
Oh, that's what you said.
Yes, yes.
I know that means.
But it's like in the German, like Gunther Steiner, the way he says it.
Yeah. All right, that was a little bit. I caught it a little bit on that.
Yeah. So you're keyed into that.
Dankeschön.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Well, what we have prepared today is that we have a book here. It's the Daniel Ricciardo No Regrets, Only Memories book. And we're going to go through moments in your life, in your career, pictures, and we're just going to talk about your career, your life, and everything that you have going on.
It was the best idea for a podcast. Just show a bunch of pictures.
I love it.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So if you would do us the honor of opening up this book, and you'll see where we begin.
Awesome. Yeah. Is this going to be in post as well?
No, we just want you to free associate.
This is
just what's in your mind right now.
Well, to the start of any chapter, you have to have a blank canvas, right?
Exactly.
So there you go.
This is before you. In the beginning, you were nothing.
This was in a hotel room somewhere.
Where you were being conceived.
That's
exactly.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
Next page.
Man, look. Oh, it's cute.
Yeah.
You can't even. It's objective.
It's objective. It's an objective fact. So
when you see this kid, what's the first thing that you see?
I would say I look at that and I say nothing's changed. So in a way, I'm proud to see that because a lot has changed, but I still see myself. Like I still see this kid in me today, and therefore I'm proud that I feel like I've still gone through this crazy career so far, still being myself, I guess. So that's probably the first impression I get.
So you still feel that kid in there? That guy's still there?
Yeah, just freaking happy to be at a racetrack. There's a little bit of cheekiness behind that smile, but I don't know. I weirdly still feel very close to this version of me, which was probably, I don't know, how old am I? 5 there?
And how do you maintain that closeness to that inner child? How do you keep that alive?
Definitely, I would say the core behind it would be family and friends. At that age, let's just say I'm 5 in this photo. Yeah. I've still got some of my friends that I have when I was 5.
Really?
I got asked actually earlier today, it was something about, I think because I started my career here in Silverstone, my F1 career was here 13 years ago. And the question was something like, oh, do you think you have changed a lot in those 13 years? And I said something along the lines of, my friends still know me for me. So it was kind of I guess what I'm trying to say is, of course you change, you grow up and life changes, but I'm still myself and my friends are the best indication that I am, I guess, staying me and not getting lost in this. craziness.
They were checked
I don't
you up.
know.
They're like, whoa, you're like going really
Yeah,
hard
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
That's the thing. Like, I don't think my ego or anything has ever got too far. Of course, I'm sure you have little moments through your career where you're just growing up and learning. But
Right.
yeah, my friends that I've had since I was little will always keep me in check. It's probably the best way to say it.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting. Do you think, is there like a time in your career where you were kind of like, I kind of lost the plot at that point? You know what I mean? I think I'm finding as I'm getting older, like, oh, it's the things that were true when I was a kid. Even if I lost that mentality, now that I'm entering in my 30s, I'm like, oh no, like I'm right back there. But
Yeah,
there was
you have friends.
There were
And I
periods
called you
in
a diva like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's
You
like,
have
you're
people
being a
that
fucking
put
diva
you
right
in
now.
check. What
Yeah.
can you recall a time where a friend was like, you need to chill?
Yeah, 2015. It was actually in Austin. Yeah, 2015. So it was probably when, I just started to like make a bit of a name for myself in the sport and won a few races. And yeah, I was mid-20s and you think I don't want to go as far as saying you think you're invincible, but yeah, you're like, all right, I'm really kicking it right now. I'm the man. And yeah, I remember I was like probably just getting a little weird in terms of, just getting like ahead of myself and probably a bit cocky maybe. And someone close to me at the time, I remember they were like, like I've seen a change in the last few weeks and just, I don't like it. And I just want you to be aware of it because it's not, I don't think it's like your true self. So just, make sure you're not like this doesn't take over and you start affecting people around you. But it's affected me a bit. So as a close friend, I want to be honest with you and tell you that, I don't want you to go and like not see what I'm seeing. And it was like, it was quite heavy because you go on through life sometimes and you don't realize, like, I don't know if you're just heads down and you're just looking ahead,
or you
don't
cut
really
that
know.
person out of your life,
and
then you continue down that bad path.
And that's
some people
not
do.
good.
Some people do. Right.
I respected, he's still a close friend of mine, and I respected him, and I was just, I then took a good look, and I was like, I need to just keep my feet on the ground a little bit. So we all have it, I guess.
We love that. Let's go to this next picture.
Oh, the train tracks. Do you call them train tracks?
No, that's a good. It's a good word though. It's
I
a
don't
good
think we
phrase
have.
for
What
it.
did we call people with braces?
Just
metal mouth, nerds, virgins.
well, because
How
I
old
mean,
was I?
It was close.
yeah. Well, we're curious. It's like
you were in the back of the field car with those on. You were not in a Mercedes. Meeting women at that.
Yeah, what was the?
On.
It's like you've
weight.
bloomed, right? You bloomed, but everyone has their period. You got the period where there's maybe a little bit of awkwardness. Like, did you have any of that? Like, just in terms of your adolescence, growing up, like in this world, both like just on a personal level and then
you have
the
an
world of
orthodontist a little bit to thank for that smile.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny. I look back now pre-braces, pre-train tracks, and I'm so glad I got them because, I didn't think, let's say, my smile would be what it is. I think like a lot of people know me for my smile, but like I still would have smiled regardless.
Right.
But I'm happy that I'm known for a nice smile, at least. So,
Right.
But I was self-conscious because I was 20, I think.
Yeah.
And I was in F1, and it's like, I should have done this 5 years ago, and now I choose to do it. But then I was, better now than 5 years' time. And so I did it, and it was good. So anyone think about getting train tracks, I don't regret it. So you won't too.
Yeah.
I'm curious. We want to as a couple guys who have strong noses.
I was very self-conscious about my nose for a long time.
Oh.
Did you have a journey with your nose before you realized that it was beautiful?
Yeah. Yes, but I would say, like, yes, I don't want to deny it.
Yeah.
But also not to a point where I was like, man, I want to get surgery. I want to do something about this. I was just, I don't know. I think the more you grow, the more comfortable you become with yourself. Obviously at school, like you're always going to get picked on about something.
Right.
And, it was, it could be anything. So I guess the older you get, the more comfortable you are. And I was just like, okay, like maybe, my nose is a little bigger than someone else's, but my teeth are better than someone else's or I don't know. So it's, so Look, for a little bit, but big picture, not so much.
You didn't sweat it.
No.
Do you embrace the being a really strong member of the Big Beautiful Nose Club?
I do now.
Yeah. So this moment.
I don't recall this. Where was this?
Never seen this photo before. Don't know her. Never heard of her.
So, well done, Baku.
Yeah.
So actually, on well done, Baku.
Yeah.
So the first year we went there, all like the circuit branding said well done, Baku. So it was like they were congratulating themselves.
Yeah.
So every time we go there,
Yeah.
and after this incident, we always like, well done, Baku.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, this one was, you never want teammates to clash,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Maybe the fans do, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
team certainly doesn't.
Right.
So if you're going to ask me, did we get an absolute bollocking after this? Yes. Did we get called to the teacher's classroom?
Yeah.
Or the teacher's desk? I
Right.
don't know, whatever you call
Principal's
it.
office.
Principal's office. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. And we took it. Like, we'd hit wheels a few times. We should have known that it was starting to escalate, and eventually it did.
Right.
And the decibels were the vocal decibel level
Yeah.
in the office afterwards. Let's just say Max and I weren't the only ones that would have heard the bollocking that
Oh
we
no,
got.
the entire Red Bull crew
Oh
heard
yeah,
that.
the walls are thin.
Yeah,
trust
yeah,
me.
When
yeah.
you walked out, it's like everyone's like waiting for you, and then they're like, no. Didn't
was-
hear that at all.
It was definitely that. So on that, I guess well done, Baku.
Well done, Baku.
Yeah,
We got
next page.
This is a picture from a video of
that's-
you and Max
Yeah.
on a flight, getting drunk and hanging out and having what seems like the best time
Ever.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I guess my question is like, how do you teammates, we see what happens with Pierre and Esteban and like Nico and Hamilton, Nico and Lewis, and like we see these things get so toxic, and how are you able to have that incident with Max and also be friends with him?
I guess the short answer is at some point you have to move on, and it happens. Like, okay, in a way, yes, it shouldn't happen. Like, you shouldn't clash with your teammate. But, we both were young and hungry, and, egos and everything gets in the way. And so when you're battling like that, it can happen, and it did. So, I don't know. I think we probably came out of it, even though I was a bit whatever at the time, whether it was a month later or 2 months later. I think we did come out of it better. And it was weird because even though we obviously had the crash, we were super competitive, and yes, there was a rivalry. I think we always respected each other in terms of respected each other's talent and what we were trying to like bring to the table. So then I think this was maybe the year after when I'd moved to Renault. And naturally, probably some of that tension dissipated because we're no longer, we're competing against each other, but we're not directly. So there's less of this.
But
I
that
don't know.
could
There's
so easily turn into resentment. Like you left the team and now it's his team, and
Right.
but now you're buddies.
I guess I just, I guess I just let it go.
Well, that's the question, right? Is like people are asking about him and Lando because they're like buddies, and now
and you're friends with both, and you're friends with both of them.
You're friends with both of them, and Lando's like, if he doesn't apologize, I'm going to lose a lot of respect for him, and I'm not going to talk to him. He better come talk to me. And it's just like, I guess it's like, what's your advice for Lando entering the lion's den, which is going head to head with Max Verstappen, and being friends with him?
Right.
Yeah, look, I mean, the only probably advice I could give is, because even when I came into the sport, I was like, can't be friends with anyone. Everyone's an enemy, and that is the way that you beat them on track. And like for sure, you need to carry some intensity about the way you strap the helmet on,
Yeah.
and you don't see anyone on the track as a friend. They're all competitors and that. So, like, yeah, you do have to create some separation, but doesn't mean you have to hate everyone and drive with this, like, animosity. So, yeah, I would say, yeah, it's fine to have a relationship and be mates and whatever, but I think we all know when the helmet's on, it's business, so to speak, and you can't expect, just because maybe, call it Max in this case, is a little bit of a friend to Lando, you can't expect Max just to give him a victory. So, yeah, just, I don't know.
Even if he's so ahead in the championship and they're so close?
The thing is, and look, you could
He's
see
got
it.
the tire advantage. I mean, it was his win. Come on.
No, wait, I'm also
they're
not
such
defending. I'm not on anyone's side, but my point is,
I'm kidding.
I guess in that situation, yeah, you could say conservatively he can afford to lose some points, but maybe then in his head, the psychology is, why give him an inch today? And then that sets up something else for the future. And it's like, you can't afford to roll over.
Do you ever see someone in your mirror? Does it ever change, like, who you're, or do you race everybody the same?
I definitely, the approach is I race everyone the same, and I try not to be like, oh, that's so-and-so behind me or in front of me.
Yeah.
But I can't lie, I've been doing this enough years to start to know traits of drivers and know that this driver might give me a little bit more room, and this driver is probably going to run me off the track. So maybe you put a bit of thought into it, but also so many overtakes are like split-second decisions that you can't really afford to think, what's this driver going to do? You see a gap and you have to go, and then we'll see how it comes out on the other side, I guess.
Love it. Bankers, this episode is brought to you by our amazing partners at Cash App. Not only does Cash App sponsor our favorite perfectly branded Formula One team, but they also make it easier for you to save money so you can do the things you love, like going to an F1 race, which is something that we did in Silverstone, thanks to Cash App. Listen, to be honest, we thought that Cash App was just a way to send people money, but it's also a faster and simpler way to bank. You can start saving with as little as $1 with no hidden fees, no minimum balance requirements, and no account fees. And we all know that overdraft fees make no sense. Why are you charging someone if they don't have any money? You're going to penalize Haas? What's wrong with you? Plus, if you deposit $300 or more in paychecks, you get up to $50 in free overdraft coverage. It pays to get paid on Cash App. So go download Cash App today. All right, now back to the show. What's Max like to party with? Because you know, this is a side of Max I feel like people don't know or see, and then you get a glimpse of it, and you're like,
whoa.
We heard he likes G&Ts. We heard he's a big G&T guy.
He loves G&Ts. I think this is where I guess I'm quite comfortable speaking, like positively about Max because yes, we had the rivalry and we've gone through, but like, there's also, that's just Max, like as a competitor, but it's not necessarily him as an individual. And yes, like he's intense and whatever, but off track, like he's a pretty normal kid. Like we've all got our quirks and whatever. None of us are probably that normal, but like he does normal things and loves a GT every now and then. But he's respectful. If my family's here and that at the track, he'll come and say hi. And like he's a pretty normal kid.
Were you like the older brother bad influence on him when he got in?
But I feel like all like the Red Bull stuff we did together, it was, like racing caravans or doing stuff like that. We were always just egging each other on. And I knew if I baited him into something, he was going to do it.
Speaking of other Red Bull, Liam said that you're like incredible at ping pong. Is this true? And that you beat all of them?
Yeah, I'm not bad. Well, I played Yuki earlier on his like mini table, and I hadn't played him since Japan, which was a few months ago now, and he's been playing all the time because that's like part of his warm up. I beat him straight off the couch.
Just dusting off. Still a little achy.
Warm up is ping pong. Wow, that's interesting.
But I think it works to his detriment because I don't think he always wins. So you hear a lot of swearing. There's a lot of rackets getting thrown in his room. I don't know if that's the right mindset to be in.
Yeah, so he goes into the race with a negative mindset.
Oh, that's so funny.
Whoa! What
was the score?
Wait, hold on. Did you beat him before the last race in Austria.
That
might have
beat
made
him.
the difference. That might have made the difference because you had a really good race in Austria.
No, but the last time we played back in Japan, actually he won, let's say, on the track.
Yeah.
But we played so much that week, and sorry Yuki, but I beat you so many times on ping pong that he never invited me back in his room until today, which is how many months later.
Oh.
So there was some scarring he had to deal with.
What was the score today?
It was close, actually. It was 12-10. So we went to
went to overtime.
play to 11.
Win by
and
twos. Win by twos. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to this next picture. All right, from the Baku, crash to this moment of you belly flopping into the pool. Can you give us the mind? So first, I just want to know, was this planned? Were you always like, I'm going to belly flop into the pool? When you saw that pool, were you like, I'm going to belly flop into you one day? Was that always the plan?
So I knew that, say, so Mark Webber had, I think, done front flip or back flip, and I'm an athlete, but
right.
I'm not necessarily a gymnast.
Right.
I'm not really good at the flips and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So hand-eye coordination, give me a ball or something, I'm all right, I back myself. But anyway, so I was like, if I try and do a flip, it's going to end bad.
Yeah.
It's just not going to be cool.
Yeah.
It's going to look like I've tried too hard, basically. So then this was actually off. It was a little bit of me, myself, and Irene. There's a moment where Jim Carrey jumps off.
You brought up a very 90s kid reference. Yeah.
There's a moment he jumps off the bridge, and I feel, at least in my head, he kind of does something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And jumps in. So
yeah.
it was kind of, that was the inspiration, and I also was like, let's just do something silly, and at least it looks like I'm not trying too hard to do something majestic. But in the end, this is the most majestic thing that ever happened in that pool.
It's true.
Yeah.
Do you feel like George Russell's with his pose? He's kind of stealing from you, right?
I actually, when he won in Austria, I looked and I was like, it's kind of close.
He's
You might need to copyright trademark the pose and then just send him a little cease and
That's so
desist.
funny.
You get a little, you
get a little royalty.
Kickback.
But I love that he's doing the thing. So
Yeah.
it's funny. In a way, it's always a thing. If it's kind of it's not the best word, but if it's organic, then these little poses or moments are fun. And if that's now become George's, then he should do it.
If he does the pose and then falls into the Monaco pool when he wins, are you going to have problems?
Then you have to have words.
It's okay.
Okay.
I'll let it go.
Okay.
Look, I'll just say I did it 7 years before you, so whatever.
Sure.
However many years. 6.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about this race leading up to this moment.
Yeah.
It's just such a crazy series of events. Between what happened in 2016 and the heartbreak of that, and then you're back in that position, and then you have the issues with the car that you had.
Yeah.
I've heard you talk about that. That was it was a horrible race. You had such a bad time.
Yeah.
Is that have you are there races where? I'm just curious if you'd had a moment like that before. You're where you won, but you had
the
horrible
process
time.
was so terrible.
Yeah,
sometimes we'll have an interview with somebody and it goes really well, but I find myself working really hard, and everyone says, "Oh, that was a great interview." I was like, "I hated that."
Yeah,
because it's pulling teeth.
Yeah,
like this one. No, I'm kidding.
Pulling teeth.
Yeah, no,
I say that a lot.
Yeah.
I like pulling teeth. So yeah, it I don't say it in a way that was the worst day ever, but the race was not enjoyable. Because even I remember pulling up to the grid for the start of the race, because I think there was a little bit of rain overnight.
Yeah.
And so I was on the right side of the grid, which was, I think, next to some trees. So where it had rained, there was still a little bit of water where the sun hadn't hit it.
Right.
So there was a little bit of water on the right side of my grid.
Yeah.
And as soon as I pulled up, I saw that my wheel was a little bit on still what looked like a damp patch.
Oh, no.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, what have I done? So I'm waiting for the 20 cars to line up. And all I'm thinking about is I've already screwed this up.
Yeah.
How did I not move the car a bit more to the left? So already before the start, I was like, I had no idea how it was going to go. And then obviously, I got the start. I was relieved. And then, I think lap 28 of 78. So still 50 laps to go. I had the...
Right.
I heard it came in the form of a sound. I remember going through like the Casino Square part, and I got back on throttle, and the engine sounded different.
Yeah.
And I was just...
God.
You're in denial. You're like, didn't hear that. no,
Right.
that was the wind or something.
Yeah.
And then I remember the next corner, I get on the throttle and I hear it again, and I'm like, oh no.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was so. Then the next, I didn't know if it was ever gonna just blow.
Yeah.
So the next 50 laps,
Stress.
sucked.
Just stress.
Yeah.
So when you win Monaco, especially under those conditions, is winning Monaco just like more from pole? Is that just relief?
Yeah.
More than excitement. You win a race, that's exciting because anyone can win like a Silverstone, but like a Monaco, it's like if you don't win from pole, you look at Charles
right.
Leclerc.
It's your race to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you felt more relief than ecstasy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
relief was 100% the first word that comes to mind. It was, and because of what happened in 2016.
Yeah.
And, then as soon as this issue happened during the race in 2018, then you start thinking like silly stuff, but am I destined to never freaking win this race?
Right.
Like why are there these forces against me for this?
You were Leclerc before Leclerc.
Yeah. So I actually, when he won this year, I messaged him. I messaged him after quali and I said, like, great lap, like hope you can finish it tomorrow. And when he won, I was just like, dude, I'm like happy for you. Like you finally did it. And I felt like he experienced something similar to me where it's like there's these kind of forces and it's even bigger for him because it's his home race.
Yes.
So it's like a double.
Did you feel threatened by the level of his dive? It was pretty good into the harbor.
Oh,
Right.
but that was like that was an Olympic dive. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Fred's
that
not
was
so
good.
much. Fred's not so much. Drive to Survive. It's the reason that we're here. You're the reason that we're here. We're here. We blame you.
Enchanté.
What's the best and worst part of like your life post Drive to Survive? You know what I mean? With the newfound kind of like fame and attention.
I mean, the best part is, and this is truthful. I know it might sound a bit like sobby or whatever, but it's for years. Obviously, since I was a kid, I loved this sport.
Yeah.
And it was, especially at school, I never felt like it got the respect it deserved. And, it was me and one other kid when I was at school that watched F1. No one else.
Right.
No one probably knew what it was or cared. And so when I would like say I'm going away to race cars, even like the teachers or whatever, was like, that's not a real thing. And so I guess for me, the fact that this has given us a platform to like share the sport with the world and kind of get a little bit of respect and people can see it and appreciate it, that makes me really happy. And that's not about me. That's about the sport. Obviously I give
making the kids
examples
at school feel
of me,
bad.
but it's like, it's because the sport's cool. And I'm just glad that people now see it how I've always seen it.
Right.
And then the worst was actually, people come up to me and I don't think they know I'm a race car driver. They're like, hey, you were great on that show. I'm not an actor, but whatever. I'm actually a driver. That wasn't. So it's funny. I get that quite a lot. You were great on
People
that
think
show.
you're an
That's
actor.
so funny.
It's
That's
like
crazy.
the way they talk about it.
The guy who does those stunts after, you should tip your stunt double more.
That guy's amazing.
It's funny.
All right, we'll do the next. All right, so you've now had two
Team
principals
who
with
you left and then made get tattoos.
then they have tattoos. Do you have like a kink for making other people who don't want tattoos get tattoos? What's going on here?
It's pretty weird. Like that kind of became a weird thing as well, where it wasn't planned.
Yeah.
But I think because when I joined Renault, I'd had a few fresh tattoos and mainly like the ones on the arms, which I'd had like leg tattoos, but they weren't very visible. So then I got some on my arms and I was like, oh, like every race you're coming with another tattoo. And then he's like, all right, first podium, I'll get a tattoo. Like I think we talked about it, and so that was that. So then,
but after you left, and like after you like said, I'm going to McLaren, and then you're like, but you got to get the. Did he ever waver?
Was there fear in his eyes when you're like, you're still getting that tattoo? He was like,
how did you make him hold up that end after you left him?
I think I owe it to him here. I'm pretty sure when I got the podium, so I'd already announced McLaren. A few months later, got the podium.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he was the one that said, I'm going to hold
man of my word.
Yeah, man of my word. Like, I'm going to do it. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was him that reminded me of our bet.
Very big of him.
Yeah.
I would have been like, you know what? I said I'd get a tattoo. You said you were going to be at Renault and we're going to build this thing for a long time. So, no. Go.
Who's your next victim? Yuki?
I haven't even thought.
Do you have any standing tattoo bets that we don't know about?
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. Do you guys have tattoos?
We don't.
Oh,
no,
we
wait, no.
We should have said that we did.
Moving, next
your next
page.
tattoo?
Yeah, what is your next tattoo?
I haven't got one since 2021. Yeah, I've slowed down, so I don't know. Then people are like, oh, will you ever get another one? I don't want to say no, because a lot of them are spontaneous.
Right.
Like, you get a few and you don't, it's not like they all need some crazy meaning. You just get it because
What's your dumbest one?
Dumbest one?
There we go. We got one.
I got, well, it's not dumb. It's kind of dumb. I got LA.
LA. Wow.
I got drunk in LA. And then
Just so I remember where I am. Just so I remember where I am for the night.
Oh, that's amazing.
But I like LA. I spend time there. So
it's fun.
It would have been weirder if I got like Idaho or somewhere I've never been. I don't know.
Sure.
If lost, please return.
I think we'll go. Yeah. So this moment, you break your fifth metacarpal. What was like, you're coming on the high of it. This moment happens. Like, what's your, like, if you look at this picture, like, what's this guy
sad.
thinking? Yeah. How's he feeling?
These photos like really hit me.
Yeah.
I was in a lot of pain, that's for sure. I'm not good with that sort of stuff either. Like, I'm a wuss, and knowing that I was like, I need to freaking fly to Spain and get surgery and have needles poked in my, like, I'm just not good with that. And I know that sounds like I'm a wuss and whatever, but I think it was also knowing what the next week was going to be like. It was going to be very uncomfortable. So I was like, okay, this is going to suck. But obviously the bigger thing was I got back into the sport and I felt like I was in such a good place. And then I don't want to say like a freak accident, because accidents happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just felt like I'd kind of just put together all this momentum, and it was then stopped for a bit. So of course, like in those moments, you want to think like, oh, why me, and blah, blah, blah. But fortunately, I think because I was in a very good headspace, I remained in a good headspace. And I kind of took the perspective of, okay, I was 34. It's the first bone I've broken racing cars my whole life.
Yeah.
So for something that's pretty dangerous, okay, that's pretty good.
But how does this compare to your broken wrist in 2010?
Oh, catches a hula hat. All right.
Yeah, because you had broken your wrist racing a car, but sometimes you break your wrist doing other things.
So, yeah, mountain biking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it with you drivers and bikes?
I mean, get these drivers off the bikes.
You ever heard of a Peloton? Jesus Christ.
Even Toto got on the bike.
Yeah.
I mean, billionaires off of bikes. It's a petition.
We enjoy wheels and going fast or having fun, and it's just. But yeah, 2010. Wow. So that one was funny. So Helmut Marko. Do you just know him as Helmut Marko or Dr. Marko?
We know
him
just Helmet.
Helmet?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that was pre-season.
Yeah.
So there was a test a few days later.
Right.
And you're in like F2 or F?
It was called World Series by Renault. So
Okay.
it was kind of like a F2.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I went to the test knowing that I was not going to be able to drive.
Yeah.
But he's like, you're flying to that test and you're going to try and drive. So all we were delaying was the phone call to him telling him I can't do it.
Yeah.
So I did one lap and I was like, impossible. So I called him. I'm like, Helmut, I tried and I can't. Like, I'm sorry, I just can't. I'm going to miss this test. And what he said to me was, put it this way, it was along the lines of when your parents are like, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. And it was like, so he said that part.
Yeah.
And then the phone call ended. And I was like, oh, man. Yeah, that one hurt.
You let
He was
that
pretty
down.
pissed.
Yeah.
If I didn't get that through. But it was...
Well,
he didn't go nuts. He just
right.
He just cut me.
You would have preferred if he screamed at you.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah.
You idiot, whatever.
Yeah.
Not mad.
Just
disappointed.
Okay.
You're like, oh.
No, devastated.
So that one sucked.
Yeah.
And he's like, let me get off this page. All right. You've had a bunch of you have celebrity friends, you've had celebrity run-ins. We have Hugh here with Josh Allen. We saw this in person of him.
It was like surreal.
Baby lifting you off of the
like
playground.
Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
Standing in a corner.
I thought it couldn't be repeated, but through Josh, anything is possible.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then you had this moment with Anne Hathaway at the Met Gala. What's your most aha, oh my God, this person knows who I am? Was that one of them?
Yeah, like that's definitely one that comes to mind because, it's just sometimes it's the ones you don't expect.
Right.
Yeah, obviously surprise you. And I'm there at the Met. First time, I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the red carpet bit, waiting for the photo opportunity little segment. And so it looked like this photo's funny because it looks like I'm just in awe of her. I mean, I was like, it's Anne Hathaway, awesome. I'm waiting.
Sure.
And then I remember, I think she and then she looks at me, she's like, oh, Daniel Ricciardo. I'm like, oh, Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
It's funny. That stuff, it's I don't want to say, oh my gosh, I get totally starstruck and I can't speak. I know that everyone's human.
Yeah.
But there's these moments. Yeah, I'm not going to deny. They're still cool.
Yeah.
I tell my parents or my mom or my sister, and I'm like,
What was
hey,
the
guess what?
craziest
Anne
one?
Hathaway. I was like, they're like, oh my gosh. So it's a nice one.
What's your favorite Anne Hathaway movie?
Oh, I think it's Prada, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a
Has
good
to
guess.
be.
Pretty
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Any others that come to mind? Just like, oh, I can't believe I met that person and they knew who I was.
And they geeked out over me.
Well, I feel now I'm just talking about the Met, but leaving the Met that night, Stormzy, I think he's playing tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah.
He was walking in front of me, and I tried not to fanboy anyone in that evening. But I was like, oh, whatever. And I'd had a few drinks by then, and I was like, all right, we're leaving. I'll just say hi and be like, hey, man, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, Stormzy, just want to say, me and my mates, love your music.
Yeah.
We listen to you. And kind of as I was saying that, he was the same, Ricardo.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, we love you. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it was just, I don't know, sometimes I just don't expect it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
That's so sick. That's the end of our pictures.
That's the end of our book.
But
Yeah.
I'm, any...
The rest of the book is yet to be written.
That's right. The
Oh.
rest is still unwritten, as someone
Natasha
once
Bedingfield
said.
once said, I think.
Listen, we start this pod. We started with What's up, Vankas? Would you honor us with a goodbye, Vankas?
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be great, but I'll try. Where am I looking?
Down no, this one to the right. Yeah,
The close one?
yeah, the one.
All right. Goodbye. Goodbye, Vankers.
Yes! Goodbye,
Thanks.
Vankas!
Auf Wiedersehen.
Amazing.
Motherfucker.
Yes.